Welcome back, Ventura. We are Girls on the Air, Women in Real Estate right here in Ventura County. We are live streaming always on Saturdays from 11 to 12. You can also find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. I'm Janet Sprisler.
And I'm Karen Campbell, and we're so excited to have Chris Faber with us. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you. You have a lot of information that will help, I think. So tell people what a private adjuster is.
So technically the name is a public insurance adjuster, but
There you
we're
go.
often referred to as private insurance adjusters, perfectly fine. But we're licensed through the state of California, and we're experienced in handling insurance claims. And what we focus on is commercial and residential property claims, whether it be a fire, weather, water, burglary, any type of loss to your property. We work exclusively for the property owners to review their coverages, assess the damages, and make sure that they get the proper settlement of their insurance claim.
Very nice. And so when someone has contacted their insurance company and they have the letter from the insurance company, do you take over from there?
Yeah, typically the way that once you hire me, I take the claim over. You know, the most common situation that comes to me is someone who has been struggling with their insurance company for several months, and they realize that they're not making the progress that they should, or they're not getting the settlement. They hire me. I take over all the communications. I handle all the calls with the insurance company. I document all the damages. I send all the letters. And really, at the end of the day, the goal is to take all of the pressure off of the property owner and deliver you a settlement that allows you to restore your property.
And sometimes I've dealt with a public adjuster because I was part of the floods last year. And I brought one in because someone said, I don't think your insurance is going to cover this. And thank goodness that I did that, because I would have lost my insurance and they would not have paid out on a claim. But I would have done a claim, and they said, no, your life of use is over on this roof and you're going to have to pay it out yourself. So it gives you a different direction in which to go, because then I was able to get an SBA loan. So there's different things that you can do. But if you are unsure if your insurance is even going to take your claim, then would they call you beforehand?
Absolutely. I often have people that reach out to me before they file a claim, because one of the things to remember is it's super important to convey the right information to your insurance company.
Right.
I've actually been contacted by clients who had their claim denied, and it turned out after talking with them, they just gave them bad information. After a loss, it can be really overwhelming, and you don't know what to tell the insurance adjuster, and you may be telling them some details that aren't really important and actually are detrimental to your claim. So it's good to just make sure that you convey the appropriate information, and talking with someone like myself, we can certainly make sure you do that.
And Chris, what's your background as far as, were you in the insurance industry? Were you working for an insurance company, or did you just somehow be able to be a public adjuster?
So that's what sets me apart from a lot of the public adjusters out there. I was actually in the insurance industry for 23 years. I started handling claims in 2000. I've handled many different types of claims for multiple national insurance companies. I was a large loss claims manager. I've actually handled a lot of the claims, such as the Woolsey fire and the Montecito mud flows. So I've seen all of these things. In addition, I have a lot of education. When I worked for the insurance companies, I really went deep in going to all the educational courses and getting many designations that a lot of insurance people don't even have. I just realized that there was a need out there where I could take my experience and skills and really help homeowners and business owners to recover after loss.
That's awesome. So it doesn't really matter what the loss is. It's any loss, whether it be fire or flood or, something that's fallen on something, right?
Anything that has to do with property. I've handled kitchen fires for a Chinese food restaurant. I've handled fires. I've handled plumbing breaks. I've handled rain leaks, burglaries, thefts, vandalism, anything that happens to real property. Now, we don't handle car insurance claims or anything like that. It has to be real property, a home or a business.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even understand how important this is, because keep in mind, California is not insurance friendly right now. So if you do file something that is not going to be covered on your home, they have the opportunity then to say, and I've seen this before, they deny your claim, they do not renew you, and then you go to another carrier and they won't pick you up because you filed a claim even though there was no payout on it. So it's very important to be very careful with your insurance companies right now on what you're doing, because we understand everyone's in fear. It's fear flight, so they're running and they're just over indulging in the conversation where by calling Chris, you may be able to save yourself thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Yeah, yeah, you bring a great point there. I actually talk to people fairly frequently where I tell them it doesn't make sense to file this claim. Either the claim isn't going to be enough money, or maybe it's not going to be covered. And you, as you pointed out, if you have a claim on your record, whether it's paid or not, that could follow you. So you want to make sure it makes sense, and I do often give advice on that. But one thing I would keep in mind too is I do talk to people who don't want to file a claim because they're afraid they're going to get canceled. Unfortunately, you know, if you have a claim that's going to cost you $20,000 or $30,000 and you have to come out of pocket for that, there's still a chance that your insurance company may come and non-renew you because they are following their books of business and they're reviewing them, and we do get non-renewals from time to time. So it'd be really unfortunate you'd make this decision to pay $20,000 or $30,000 out of pocket and then find out you're non-renewed anyways. So if it makes sense, file the claim.
That's really an important fact. Yeah. Well, and anytime there's a fire or an earthquake or any kind of natural disaster, they freeze the zip codes. And so whether you are getting a new policy or not, in the zip code of 93010 or 12 or 13, those zip codes are frozen. And so insurance, until they assess what the situation is, you're not going to be able to get insurance on anything in those zip codes. So keep that in mind too. I know it's really an unfortunate thing, but that is what happens when there's any natural disaster, whether it's an earthquake or a fire or a flood or whatever. They do freeze those zip codes. So that has happened. They are frozen. And until they assess what's going on and what they're going to do, it usually takes sometimes 30 days to get them unfrozen. And so it will delay an escrow. It will delay a loan. Lenders will not put their money into escrow when that happens because they have to have the insurance. So don't be surprised about that. That is something that happens every single time there's a disaster or a major event. So have you seen that as well?
You know, I don't get into the
You don't get into
underwriting
the underwriting.
often. I'm typically involved in claims, but I've definitely heard that because if there's an active event, they want to make sure that they're not insuring something that's in peril.
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
And that's, you know, as a realtor, when we have something in escrow and we're getting ready to close and there's an earthquake, like for instance, the earthquake that happened on a Monday, people moved in on a Friday, special circumstance by all means, moved in Saturday and Sunday, and Monday never came. So everybody had to back up because nobody owned anything. You all went back to what you originally owned. And so that does happen when insurance policies get frozen, and they are frozen right now. So we'll keep an eye out for that as well. So Chris, tell everybody where they can find you if they have information that they want to share with you and or if they want you to take over these claims.
Absolutely. You can reach me by telephone at 310-488-6442. I also have a website. It's chrisfaberpublicadjusters.com, or you can email me at chris@chrisfaberpublicadjusters. I'd be happy to talk with anybody, answer any questions, give you guidance, because it can be really a tough road sometimes trying to figure out where to go, especially after an event like this. And I'm really happy that you guys are sharing some of the details. I was listening earlier, and some of the points you hit on are very important. Don't rush into anything. You know, take your time. Obviously, you've got to find a place to live, but there's so many things to consider. You know, your policy limits, what your insurance company is going to pay. There's just a ton of things to consider, and it's great that you have people in your world that help guide people in those areas.
Yes, thank you so
I
much.
appreciate having you here.